What's up, metalheads? Welcome back to another weekly episode of Full Metal 5, the top 5 show the show where we would try and make a top 5, but we usually just end up casting a bunch of spite votes and yelling at each other throughout the duration of the episode. I am your host and essentially just peacekeeper of this very cantankerous panel because our topic this week in honor of the release of Overboard, which I'll level with you, I'm not excited for at all. But it's got me thinking, you know what? Let's do the top 5 best romantic comedies of all time. And to define the romantic comedy, I'm going to kick it to the sidekick, Zack Ford. Zack, how do you define romantic comedy?
Here's the rules. It must have a joke. There must have a romance. Whatever the fuck's going on around that doesn't matter.
Okay.
If there is love and comedy, just like there is in my life, and my whole life revolves around love and comedy, guys. Take that for what it means.
You're a teacher. I don't think that's true.
No, I'm probably like romantic comedy / just like pure anger.
Okay, well, good insight.
I think Angry Films is next week. We're just doing rom-coms this week.
Okay, no, Angry Films we'll get to at some point, but right now...
I can do that straight from my classroom, so I'm prepped for that.
Yeah, right on. All right, and you just heard him interject. It's a very good friend of mine, Paul Oyama. Paul, what's up?
Hey, how's it going? I heard Luca was on the panel, so I figured I could break my streak as being the most curmudgeonly person on any Full Metal 5 panel. But yeah, I know people might not know this, but this is probably the Full Metal 5 I'm most excited for. I absolutely love rom-coms, and I'm here to talk about some rom-coms that I love, not things that I don't like, which is popular misconception.
No, things you don't like we're saving for another time. But next to him, you may have heard him in the intro. He is the person. Look, if you have an opinion, he'll tell you it sucks. Luca Fallon. Luca, what's up?
Hey. I feel like me and Paul is going to make this potentially an incredibly long show. But I suggest that you will, temper that by just suggesting good movies. That would be great.
That's a good solution to getting turned down.
Suggest good movies. Luca Fallon. Just write that in quotes. And rounding out the panel, I've kept these two apart for a good amount of time, but I felt like this would be a good time to bring them back together. Whether that's a good decision or a bad decision, we'll find out. It's Cody Newberry. Cody.
Howdy. Yeah, I didn't know Paul was on here. I would have declined if I knew Paul.
Oh, I purposely didn't tell you.
It's just pretty much I don't know what the chat's going to do right now because with Luca and Paul both on here, they won't be screaming because they'll get to actually nominate stuff.
Caleb might be screaming.
Now that there's a record going out there for the most continuous no votes, I'm looking for somebody to try to win that record back tonight. So this is going to be a very long episode.
Please no.
And I'm going to just try to...
Before we start,
underrating my ability to make it long because I just don't shut up.
That's true.
Yeah,
Zack is
because you ramble.
But I like Zack. So.
I do want to take a vote. Who do you think is going to say no more times by the end of this episode? Luca or Paul?
Luca.
Paul.
Oh, so I got Zack with Luca.
Luca just hates more things.
Yeah.
All right, there.
Cody's got Paul.
Cody.
But I think
Cody, who do you think will say no most?
I think they hate the same things almost. I mean, if you ever watch it in like a chat, they're pretty much in sync.
Actually, here's my fearless prediction. Because me, Luca, and Paul, I feel like will have more crossover in some of their opinions.
I think Cody might be the one.
Say no. Cody's going to say no.
Oh, so we got Cody with the most no's. Okay, I'm keeping track of this. So I got Paul, Luca, and
Paul nominates it. It's probably not
most no's by the end of the
I've been waiting to be on the same show as Luca and Paul so we can dominate this with all the hipster choices.
All right, well, we can get to that later, but we're going to see how it starts right now because the way this works is we do top 5 lists in 3 different selection processes. The first one is the nomination series. What we're each going to do is we're going to go around and nominate different romantic comedies until we get to a top 7. In order for Rom-Com to make the top 7, it has to get 3/5 majority votes. With this panel, it's going to be a rarity. So, I'm going to start off the bidding. Now, but if we're going off the criteria of it has to have romance and it has to have jokes, my first nomination is going to Fight Club. No, I'm kidding. My real first nomination is actually going to one of my favorite movies of all time. I remember watching this at a classic film festival, and I was like super young. And I remember just like I know it was an old movie, but I just remember like just loving it immensely. That's Some Like It Hot. Billy Wilder's romantic comedy starring Marilyn Monroe, Jack Lemmon, Tony Curtis. A great misidentity caper about these two jazz musicians who disguise themselves as women to, flee these mobsters who are chasing them. A lot of great jokes, a really good romance between Tony Curtis and Marilyn Monroe. Spoiler alert. So many great memorable lines, and also probably quite possibly my favorite Jack Lemmon performance. So my first vote is going to Some Like It Hot, and I'm going to go to Paul to see who's going to give us our first now.
Okay, yeah. So Billy Wilder is obviously one of the best directors of all time, and yeah, I absolutely had a Billy Wilder, Jack Lemmon romantic comedy on my list.
But it's not this one.
It is not this one. I like this movie a lot. This was hovering like around like the early teens, like probably 13 or 14, or maybe even 12 or 11 for me. But for me, there are just movies that I prefer to this, especially in the world of rom-coms. I think that this movie leans a little more into the comedy than the rom. But just generally, I like this movie a lot. But yeah, for me, it's not quite top 7 as far as rom-coms go.
By the definition of Zack Ford, this movie has jokes and it has a romance. So this the whole rom and com thing. I hope.
I didn't say it didn't count. I'm just saying,
All right, going to Zack next. Zack.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely classifies, but the romantic elements mean absolutely nothing to me in this movie. That is not what draws me in at all. I think it's a funny movie. Doesn't swoon my heart for what's his face? God, man, if I'm trying to talk, I would be
Tony Curtis.
Tony Curtis, thank you. Tony Curtis and Marilyn Monroe, I could care less about what's going on with them. I care more about the friendship between Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon. So I am no.
Okay.
Keep it short. Timing myself.
I'm gonna start a count for you too, Zach. See how far you get.
That was short. That's like my record.
Yeah, you got a shot clock on.
All right, Luke. Luke, I'm going to you next.
I think if we were going to be doing Full Metal 5's like final lines in movies of all time, this would probably be very, very high up there. I'm a Man, Well, Nobody's Perfect is just one of my favorite little exchanges in films.
That was great.
But I think Zack has hit the nail on the head with this is a film that is better because of Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis' relationship and their interaction, and not so much on the Tony Curtis Marilyn Monroe side of things. And most importantly, it's not the other Billy Wilder rom-com. So, no.
We're off to a great start, folks.
We're giving a lot of hints here.
Get used to that. But Some Like It Hot does not make the top 7, which I kind of suck on, but I love the movie, so I want to pitch it first. Cody, what are your thoughts on Some Like It Hot? Would you have said yes?
Because Paul said no. Actually, me and Paul are on the same wavelength. We might not be, but mine, other Billy Wilder and Jack Lemmon movie was my number 1. I wrote down, which if I nominate it, it will be my next one. So I would have said no because I think this movie is better in that way.
Well, Cody, you actually get the chance to put it up right now because your nomination next.
I'm putting up The Apartment.
I was really hoping you would go.
A double indemnity.
Huh?
No, okay, go
ahead. That's the one I think. It's the one it's one of the first rom-coms I remember seeing with my dad. Jack Lemmon is one of my favorite actors of all time. I think this movie has the heart and the comedic behind it, so that's what my nomination is for top 5.
Okay. So, from one Billy Wilder to another, we go from Some Like It Hot to The Apartment. I'm going to go first, and yeah, I'll give this one a yes. I mean, if my Billy Wilder movie didn't make it, I'll happily put this one up. Going back to Paul. Paul.
Yeah, this is the movie that I was talking about.
Yeah, I know.
I think this is among like the 10 or so best picture winners of all time. This movie is absolutely phenomenal. Fred MacMurray, I think his performance is like really underappreciated in this movie, but he's absolutely phenomenal. Obviously the two leads are fantastic, but the writing is what really I think sends this home for me. It's like the way that the characters interact and like the way that their dialogue reveals so much about who they are as people and like their interconnected relationships. I think this movie is just absolutely fucking phenomenal, and it's an emphatic yes for me.
All right, so The Apartment is the first movie to make the top 7. Zach, what would you say about The Apartment?
Yeah, I was definitely in. I think we all like subtly hinted that we were going to say yes to this, so it was an obvious end. But Shirley MacLaine like stole my heart through this. So a lot of it does revolve around Jack Lemmon and kind of him learning to be a mensch and the dramatic elements, but the romantic parts work for me so well because Shirley MacLaine, probably like one of the earlier Pixie Dream Girls, even though I hate that label, so I don't know why I'm saying that. I guess I hate myself too, but she has the right level of like quirky and endearing value, but also is a real character that you can, fall for. So, yes.
All right.
Number 4.
And Luca, you didn't get a vote. What would you say about The Apartment?
Yeah, between this and What a Way to Go, I think Shirley MacLaine is like possibly just, to my mind, the biggest movie star of the 1960s. I think she's absolutely wonderful. She's delightful. Jack Lemmon is brilliant in this movie as well. I think that this is just both Billy Wilder and Shirley MacLaine at the height of their powers, as well as Lemmon. This is an emphatic yes from me. It's one of my favorite movies of the 60s.
Okay. Well, before we start rolling, Luca talked to us about a possibly controversial pick he has for
I don't necessarily
this subject.
think it's going to be massively controversial.
Oh, is it? What I
Well,
think
we'll see. Just Luca, you're next. You get to go.
First and foremost, as a romantic comedy, it's very much in another genre, very, very firmly. But I think that based just purely on just how funny it is, how delightful it is, how sort of really sweet and lovely the romantic center is, we are going back even further, and I'm going with 1952's Singing in the Rain. Which I think is an absolutely wonderful, delightful movie. That is a musical, don't get me wrong, but as per Zack's categorizations, it has jokes and it has romance. And Gene Kelly and Debbie Reynolds are so, so, so delightful in it. They are wonderful. They are the core of the movie. And while there's a huge amount of big music, song and dance stuff going on around it, I think that it is funny and romantic and an absolute delight to watch. So I'm going to go with the classic, one of the greatest movies of all time, Singing in the Rain.
Okay, I'm not gonna discount that pick. So it's on the table. Singing in the Rain is up for top 7. Zach, you didn't get a vote last time, so I'm going to you first.
Yeah, so I've liked to talk before about how specific I make my genres when I catalog my movies. So Singing in the Rain is technically a Hollywood-centered period piece romantic comedy musical. So it covers all those levels. So it's definitely romantic comedy. And I'm not a movie poster person, but I do have Singing in the Rain hanging right here and framed. Really nice. It is something that took a while to grow for me. The first time I had trouble connecting to some of the romantic elements, but Singing in the Rain, I think, is one of the best written songs of all time. And comedically, I think it executes so well. Jean Hagen, I believe it's her name, right? I have the thing. Yeah, Jean Hagen is just one of the, I think, comedic performances ever given. And I've really fallen for it over time, and I think that's the gift of Singing in the Rain. My time's up. I say yes.
Okay, well, I got Zach for signing himself, and that's 1 yes for Singing in the Rain. I'm going to go to Cody next.
Didn't have it on my list, but what Luca said is absolutely. This is actually the first. When I think about it now, this is actually the first rom-com I saw because I didn't even think about that when I was making my list. So yes, absolutely, Singing in the Rain makes the list.
All right, so that closes it. Singing in the Rain makes top 7. Now I didn't get a vote, so going to me. This is hard because I don't necessarily. I actually get a note because I don't necessarily think of this as a rom-com. I think of it as like a bit, big, Hollywood musical, but I guess it counts. But I think there are more movies to me that stand out as like pure rom-coms than Singing in the Rain. So I would lean towards No, just for that reason. I do love the movie. Paul, what would you have said?
Yeah, I actually saw this for the first time in a theater about 2 months ago, and I definitely enjoyed it. And the music is like very well put together. The romance just didn't really connect for me. I don't know if that's just a first time viewing thing, but I was never really connected to their romance. So that's sort of an issue, I guess, for me. Like when categorizing it as like one of the top rom coms of all time, like it's one of the best movies that's considered a rom com. But I don't know if like it is as strong in those genre elements for me necessarily. So I probably would have said no.
All right. Well, Paul. You get to. Oh, well, first of all, it has two no's for Paul. You're leading the pack, buddy, and you get to vote next.
Not in a row, though. Not in a row.
Not in a row, but still, two no's.
Okay, I'm gonna go with a movie that is very personal to me. I know it's probably not gonna make the list, but I just feel like this is something that I wanted to nominate. it's something that I just think is so raw and is like so perfectly captures like what comedy and romance is about in like real human interaction. And that's Joe Swanberg's Drinking Buddies. Not many movies that I've seen, I think, capture sort of the realities and difficulties of friendships and romances intermingling, and like so many of the interactions just make me smile and laugh. And I know this, again, is probably not going to make the list. This is something that I really connected to personally. And I love this movie. I love Olivia Wilde and Jake Johnson in it. And yeah, so I'm nominated Drinking Buddies.
All right, so Drinking Buddies is up for top 7. I'm going to go to Luca first this time. Luca, Drinking Buddies. Does it make top 7?
Love this movie. Absolutely love this movie. Joe Swanberg's rating is really, really good. The camera work and the lighting and the set and the production design is, I think, sort of a hair above what you would expect for traditional rom-com fare in the 2010s and 2000s. Olivia Wilde and Jake Johnson are delightful. Anna Kendrick's great. Ty West is good in it. Kind of know where this one is going to go, so I'm going to give a yes to Drinking Buddies. I think it's a great movie.
All right, I'm gonna go to me first. Paul you always talk about Drinking Buddies. I finally checked it out one night, and yeah, it's a really, really like delightful movie. Everything Luca just said, I echo. But top 7 all time, I don't really think it's earned that quite yet. So, no, I gotta give it a no. Cody, Drinking Buddies.
Yeah, it's not anything against Paul. Surprisingly for me, I saw it one time. It didn't click 100% for me. It's a good movie. It just doesn't. To me, it wouldn't make top 7 all time, but it's definitely a good movie. It just didn't click as well for me.
All right, which means Zack, you are the deciding vote in this case. Does Drinking Buddies make top 7?
So I love Drinking Buddies. I love drinking and I love buddies. And it takes place in Revolution Brewery, which has some great beer in Chicago. Their hamburger may have made my wife puke, so I can't go full verifying how good the bar is, but buy the beer for sure. And I do love the movie. I think that by far Joe Swanberg's best movie, and probably Olivia Wilde and Jake Johnson's best performances. And as someone who's had lots of female friends, probably majority of my friends have been female. I've had kind of the issues with boundaries and the feelings, and it feels really relatable and hit me on a personal level. But I would love to get some lesser known indie on here, but there's one that I really, really love and has more depth to it, I believe, and so I'm going to say no for Drinking Buddies.
I wonder if it's got G-League in it.
Well, either way, Drinking Buddies does not make top 7 as far as Joe Swanberg's best movie. Huh?
I said it's all right. Me and Paul can be Drinking Buddies.
Yeah, no, drink. We'll all be Drinking Buddies at some point, but yeah.
I said I love drinking and I love buddies, but I don't need to drink by buddies. I can drink by myself.
As far as his best movie. He hasn't actually, if you want to check it out, there's a new one on Netflix right now called Win It All. It's actually really good. So, Zack, you're the last one to nominate a movie. You're up.
Okay. I don't know why I always get last. Maybe it's because I sign myself sidekick, so we have to corner it out. But this means I have less choices. Once again, I'm contacting HR about this.
Okay,
Sandy
you can contact HR. Your comment will be looked at and reviewed.
So I'm gonna go with. I'm trying to think if I'm going with my favorite movie of all time or with my crazy stretching the genre. I'm gonna go stretch the genre while we're early, and I'm gonna go with a movie that has a wonderful, unlikely romance to it, and the meet cute has tons of humor, tons of just pure joy and awkwardness that's relatable. It just happens to be between 2 animated robots and WALL-E. The great movie, the perfect movie.
God damn
WALL-E. It is just because it is animated does not make it not a romantic comedy. Animation is a medium more than it is a genre, and as I said, it works. The romance is the primary driving force behind the story and these characters, and the awkwardness with how Raleigh is introduced to Eve trying to kill him, and then the really, really romantic therapy, why she shut down, all fully functions for me in that way. And nothing makes me smile more like a 7-year-old than watching Wally every day. So Wally forever, always, you're in my heart.
Okay, that's looking at me just realizing that might have been a mistake. But either way,
and I don't know if that means they like it or they're
Wally-
like done with me forever.
Wally is on the table, and since I run the show, I'm not gonna go first. I'm gonna make one of the other guys do it. I'm gonna go to Paul first this time.
Okay, so this is my second favorite Pixar movie. I love this movie to pieces. And this is a very personal, specific thing, but I actually wrote my freshman year thesis about Wall-E and the main themes of Wall-E, and romance was not central to me. I think what it's saying about environmentalism, I think what it's saying about consumerism and environmentalism is much more central to the story. I think that's the most poignant aspect of this. I think that the romance is a great element, and I think that the Wall-E and Eve relationship is great, but I just don't think that that's necessarily central to what the movie is accomplishing. And there are certainly laughs, but I don't think that it leans as heavy into those two genres specifically. So as much as I do love the movie, Wall-E does not make my top 7 rom-coms.
Okay, so that's one vote against Wall-E. I see Luca kind of struggling, so I'm gonna go to him next. Luca, Wall-E.
Wall-E is my favorite animated movie of the century so far. It's my favorite.
I thought this was going to be an angry rant.
It's my favorite Pixar movie ever. The space dance scene is the most romantic scene in the history of cinema.
Really?
It makes you fall. I mean, that might be an exaggeration, but it's how it feels.
That's fair. I'm not telling you you're wrong.
It makes you fall in love with the couple just through bleeps and silence and words, and they are so charming, and it's so yes, it makes the list.
Okay, so that's one yes for Luca for Wall-E. I'm gonna go to Paul, not Paul. Cody next. Cody.
Well done, Zack and Luca. You picked out ones I just didn't think about because I was working all day. When he asked me to be on it, I was like, I got 2 hours. Let me try to throw this together. I love Wall-E. It does rank in my top 2 of Pixar. I don't want to agree with Paul.
Don't agree with Paul. I agree with
I won't.
you.
This panel
I have to agree with Luca. I think I understand how some couldn't get the romantic side of it, but I understood. I mean, I got it clearly. I think to quote Paul from last week when he did the MCU, he didn't want all MCUs. I don't want like all straight. Like I want a little out of there. So I've definitely put Wall-E on the list. Yes, Wall-E makes up.
Yo,
yes! We already have to sing it.
Oh, okay.
Well, then we're gonna do a little controversy, Paul. Okay.
Well, that's it. Wall-E makes top 7. Thank you for not making that fall on me because I might have exploded on camera.
Guys, I was so serious about this. I scratched my leg to be bleeding. I have full on like streams of blood because Wall-E just. I'm too intense about it, guys. Too intense.
As for
me,
is
that the first bloodshed on?
Are you sure you're not just drunk, Zack, off craft beers?
No, there's something itchy. It's had nothing to do with nerves.
As for me, though, speaking for myself, it's hard. This is hard because Wall-E is my favorite Pixar movie without the words Toy Story in the title. I think I would have probably edged slightly towards no, but I'm fine with it being on the list just because it diversifies us a little bit. So now we are back to me, and I want to push the envelope a little. I want to push the envelope a little further in a different direction because this is a rom-com that. Okay, no, this is absolutely a romantic comedy, but it's just not a traditional romantic comedy. I'm talking about The Princess Bride.
Deadpool. I think I'm okay.
No, The Princess Bride. The Princess Bride. I remember when I was a kid and I just saw the cover of this movie, and I was like, The Princess Bride. I don't want to watch this. And then, like, my mom actually made me like sit down and watch it once, and I was surprised just how much I really love this movie. It has so many great. It's a great harken back to like the romantic fantasy. Has so many great memorable characters. You really connect with the romance between Wesley and Buttercup. it has so much mass appeal to so many people that I think this really. I think even if you're not a fan of like romantic comedies or like like romantic fantasy, you can sit down, you can watch this movie. Like it's a movie that can find an audience just about anywhere. So I think The Princess Bride should be top 7. And I'm going to Paul first.
Okay, so we know the 2 famous classic blunders, never get in a land war in Asia, never go against the Sicilian when death is on the line. Number 3 is not putting Princess Bride on a top 7. Absolutely, this gets a yes. This is in my top 30 favorite movies of all time. I actually have a funny story. I used to get this mixed up with The Princess Diaries when I was very young, so I know very hesitant to ever start watching it. But no, I love this movie. So many great elements. Wallace Shawn is probably my favorite part of this movie, to be honest. He just has so many ridiculous throwaway lines that just make me laugh every single time. And God, I love this movie. So yeah, absolutely, Princess Bride definitely makes the list.
You scared me for a second. I thought you were going to say no. But either way, I'm going to Zack next. Zack.
Yeah, Princess Bride's one of the funniest movies ever. I could just put this as one of the words: Full Metal 5 best comedies, Full Metal 5 best romances, Full Metal 5 best things with a pirate ship. It would go on most
pirate ship.
That's next week, guys.
That's how you know we really ran out of ideas.
Well, we're gonna do best movie sweaters soon. Best movie sweaters, but and I think it's just such a witty script that just ages so well. I think it still works for my students. Still find it hilarious. And the romance, many people will swoon for. That's never fully what I get involved with, but I understand it and the appeal of it. So Princess Bride is a yes. It was on my list to say as well.
All right, so that is a lock, and Princess Bride is in the top 7.
Could be.
Luca, what would you say about The Princess Bride?
Oh my god, all of the movies on this list, people are gonna fucking kill us. Yes, absolutely, like 100%. This film is one of the best movies of the 80s. It's one of the best comedies of all time. I think it's Rob Reiner's best movie. I think the Carrie Elways is absolutely delightful in it. Mandy Patinkin is great. I forget the name of the actress who plays Buttercup. It's completely escaping me.
Oh, Robin Wright.
Robin Wright.
There we go, Robin Wright. She's absolutely precious. I think that it's a delightful, very funny movie. I don't think that the romance is like massively at the forefront of it, but I would have put it through just based on how funny a movie it is.
Okay.
So yeah, it probably would have gotten a yes from me, and I'm loving the shape of this list so far.
Wow, Luca's not yelling at me that something I like sucks. Awesome. So, Cody, what would you say about Princess Bride?
Yeah, absolutely. It was on my list. It still holds up. I at least watch it at least once a year, probably more than that. It still holds up. The romance is not the forefront, but this movie is fantastic. Yeah, so definitely top 7.
Okay. Well, Cody, it is your turn. You get to nominate the next movie.
Okay, so I got the one that I really wanted on the list. So this one is one from last year that took me by surprise. It probably won't make the list if it isn't, but I understand. I thought it was when I was going to the theater, I was just trying to see everything I could, and I was just like, I'll give it a shot, and I was just really blown away by The Big Sick. I thought, just the comedy in it. It was so. I can't think of the main actor's name off the top of my head right now.
Kumail Nanjiani.
Yeah, and I would have butchered it anyways. But he is so funny outside of the stuff I've seen him in. But this was just a really good movie. So I think it should deserve top 7.
All right, so 2007, The Big Sick is up for top 7. Going to go to Luca first. You didn't get a vote last time. Luca, the Big Sick doesn't make top 7.
I love The Big Sick. I think it's great. I think that Kumail Nanjiani is really, really good in it. I think that Holly Hunter and Zoe Kazan, Ray Romano are great in it. I think it's very, very funny. I think it's very well written. One of the best 9/11 jokes in all of cinema.
Absolutely.
But not for top 7, especially because we seem to be at the point now where we're going to get kind of thin on the ground with like kind of more traditional romantic comedies. And because we've had so much weird genre stuff taking up slots,
absolutely.
And we're going to have to maybe be a little bit more discerning on that front. I do love the movie. I think I like the movie a lot because I kind of followed Kyle and Emily V. Gordon's careers before this movie. So I've got a kind of a personal attachment to that because I just love these characters based on these people, or the people who the characters are based on. But is basically what I'm saying.
Okay, so that's a no from Luca. That's
I tried to find as many words as possible to say it.
One more to the tally. And yeah, as for me personally, I think this one was hard, especially because I'm with Luca. Like I do love this movie. It was in my top 10 last year. I just think it has, and it will. I think it's been too short a time. We haven't seen the full impact of that movie. Although I think it's going to do wonders for our relationship with Muslim portrayal in the media. But as for right now, I don't think it's top 7 worthy. Kicking it over to Zack.
I really enjoyed The Big Sick. I think the dramatic elements probably work the best. And it kind of separates it from the general romantic comedies, but there's a few problems that just don't make it a standout for me. It was Kumail Nanjiani has really expressed a deep affection for romantic comedies and the kind of formula of it, and it kind of follows that near the end where it didn't really feel like it needed to follow the formula. I wish it was a little more surprising towards the end. And I also think just Michael Showalter as a director is lacking, between that and Hello, My Name is Doris, there's some kind of energy that's just lacking.
I love Hello, My Name is Doris.
He doesn't.
Yeah, come on, man. Hello, My Name is Doris is amazing.
It just, there's an energy that's not there. It kind of sits there a little bit. I do still really like The Big Sick. I just find those flaws. Sometimes it just kind of sits.
Well,
I mean, no.
I never thought I'd hear Zach back. My name is Doris, but here we are. So that is a no. Big Sick does not make top 7. Paul, what would you say?
Well, I don't know. I find this movie a lot more kinetic than Zack seems to, which I don't understand that sort of angle that he's taking. But yeah, this is an absolutely delightful movie. But it's actually not even my favorite rom-com with Zoe Kazan starring in it. I think this movie is phenomenal and very funny. And yeah, the romance, it connects on a lot of levels. But I think just as far as top 7, it just doesn't quite make the cut for me. This is a great movie, and I'm glad we get to talk about it.
All right. Yeah, definitely a great movie. And I believe that brings us back to Luca next. Luca, you get the next vote.
So I'm between 2, and they're both a little bit more down to earth than, or at least closer to the traditional form of rom-com. One of which I think is the height of the sort of the new age of rom-com, and the other which is slightly older.
We have a bunch of older ones on here, so.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with one that's kind of yeah, right. Fuck it. I'm going to go with this one. So I think that one of the most interesting ways that you can do romantic comedies is to play with the romance aspect and sort of look at different types of romance, at different types of interpersonal relationships, different types of romantic relationships that aren't necessarily traditional relationships. So with that in mind, I'm going to go with one that also plays with traditional forms of comedy. I'm going to go with Hal Ashby's 1971 Harold and Maude. Harold and Maude is a story about the relationship between a sort of young adult male who is sort of obsessed with death and his own death suicides, and he's this really kind of sort of overblown dark character, and meets this woman who's in her late 70s, and they both build up a relationship about attending funerals together, and kind of grow closer, and sort of all the weird and wonderful ways in which these two interact. And I think that the thing that makes it so brilliant is that Ashby's directing and Colin Higgins' writing is so good that you don't necessarily focus on the weirdness of the age gap as a particularly creepy thing, but just more the kind of the off-kilter, darkly comedic tone of it all. And it is also sort of very sweet at its sweetest moments and very kind of dark at its darkest moments. I think it's a really wonderful movie. I think it's one of Hal Ashby's best directing jobs. And I think that the romantic leads, so to speak, Bud Cort and Ruth Gordon, are delightful and heart-stealing, and I love it to bits. So I'm going to go with that.
All right, so 1971's Harold and Maude is on the table. Not to be confused with Harold Kumar, which if you nominated it might have made the list. Who knows? But I believe I'm going to Cody first this time. Cody, Harold and Maude, does it make top 7?
I mean, I haven't seen it. I know.
Residual,
It's
no.
it's on my list, but I haven't seen it, so I can't vote on that. Sorry.
Okay, so that's one. Okay, that definitely counts as a no vote. So that's
Yeah.
one no.
Yeah.
Going to me as someone who has seen it, and it's a weird thing for me because I know it's a good movie, and yeah, there are parts where I do actually buy into the romance between these two characters, but like I don't know. I mean, maybe it is the age gap. There's something in the back of my mind that just kind of makes my skin crawl when I watch it. Not that it's not a good movie. It definitely is. It just kind of makes my skin crawl a bit. So I'm gonna lean towards no, even though I do think it is a good movie. Going to Paul next. Paul.
So yeah, I think that Court and Gordon's romance really works in this movie. It's kind of funny. There's an interesting parallel between this and the movie that Zack just shit on. My Name is Doris. But yeah, I think for me, I don't know what it is, but the comedy has never really connected with me. Like this, not necessarily the comedic style, but just like the specific jokes that are in this movie, I think are ones that just never really made me laugh. So and yeah, it's definitely a really well made movie, and it's like really well acted and directed. But I just think overall, as far as like romantic comedies, it doesn't connect. Especially like the comedic like elements don't necessarily connect as hard for me. So I'd probably say no for Harold and Maude.
All right, so Harold and Maude does not make top 7. Zach, you're not gonna vote. What would you have said?
So Harold and Maude seems like super up my alley, and if Chance told me the topics a month ahead of time, like I request, so I can do my background work, it would have been top of my list to watch.
When have you ever requested that?
I requested like a week ahead once. I'm exaggerating for the sake of performance.
I'm like, I don't know what my breakfast is gonna be a month ahead of time. But...
That's why I plan our show, The Right Winner. Watch it on Full Metal Trivia a month ahead of time, so we can do all the back leg work. But yeah, it's. I actually have not seen any Hal Ashby movies, and it's a big regret of mine because I do feel like he is right up my alley.
He is.
So much to do, guys.
All right. Well, first of all, I will say as part of preparation for this show, it's usually about I usually put on these shows like 2, 3, 4 days ahead of time, unless something big. But either way, Harold and Maude does not make the list, and it brings back to Paul. Paul, your next nomination.
Okay, so there's a bunch of different ones that I'm sort of waffling between. How many do we have? What, 4 on the list right now?
We have 4 right now.
So we have
Singing in the Rain, Wally, The Apartment,
Wally,
and Princess Bride.
Princess Bride. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and go for something that's not super recent, but also is not that long ago. It's sort of a departure for this director, and is like a style that I think that I would like to see this director revisit. It's an actor that I think I would like to see in more roles like this, and that's Paul Thomas Anderson's Punch Drunk Love. I think this is probably my favorite Adam Sandler performance. The romance, I think, between him and Emily Watson is just something that I've really identified with, not necessarily personally, but like as far as like from a viewer standpoint. And I just find Paul Thomas Anderson, all of his movies, just like completely hilarious. And I just think that this movie is like such a good balance of the two genres. So I'm gonna say Punch Drunk Love is my nomination.
All right, so Punch Drunk Love is the next on the table. Gonna go to Luca first this time. Luca.
Absolutely love Punch Drunk Love. Absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite PTA movies. It's probably like second or third on that list. Sandler and Watson are absolutely delightful. Paul Thomas Anderson tends to make like very, very long, very intense movies. And this movie is like an hour and a half, and it's like a mix of delightful and like kind of dark at points. Like when Sandler is talking about like smashing her face in with a sledgehammer and shit like that. And you just kind of get a sense of like the unhingedness of these people. But the movie makes it really, really sweet. And if a film like, if I was going to argue for a film like Harold and Maude, which is a very weird kind of twisted relationship, that would make the list between two people who are, you know, kind of slightly unhinged, I'd also definitely argue for this. I would definitely say yes. I think this is a welcome departure from PTA, something that you should go back to. I love it. Yes.
So that is a yes from Luca. Going over to Cody next. Cody.
This was a movie that I watched not too long ago, and it really took me by surprise. Because now of Adam Sandler is known for what he's known for. This is really a surprising movie. I really enjoyed it a lot, and with not too many spots left on the list, I have no problem putting this on the list. So yes, I'd give it a yes vote.
So I believe that locks it in. Punch Drunk Love makes the top 7.
Crazy what happens when he works with good directors. I know. It's crazy.
Right.
He's great.
Yeah.
So I didn't get a vote, and
to be fair, I wouldn't just say as a blanket you want to see him in more rom-coms because in 55 states happens. So
51st Dates is not that bad.
it is
Not
great.
as bad as
First Date.
I
It's
love
made
it.
my short list.
As a resident of Hawaii, I have some thoughts, but you can continue, Chad.
First of all, Paul and I talked at length about PTA. I'm not gonna get into those thoughts, but I will say this movie stars Adam Sandler, who I by no stretch am a fan of, like at all. But I did find his performance in this movie to be phenomenal. Like he is great in this movie. I wish he would do more dramas because like every time he has a drama, I usually really love him in the movie.
I just wish he would have a paycheck.
Work with Noah Baumbach more, please.
Yeah, please let me more than Noah Baumbach. But as far as Punch Drunk Love, I think I would have edged towards no, even though I do like the movie. And Zach, what would you say about Punch Drunk Love?
Yeah, so we were trying to describe myself. I was trying to describe myself. You guys weren't saying anything. I was trying to describe myself as a romantic comedy. And so this would be the romantic comedy it's me. Romantic, sweet, and then like a deep well of anger that can pop out sometimes. But Punch Drunk Love is my favorite Paul Thomas Anderson movie. It's definitely his most accessible. I have some attention span issues, so the 90-minute runtime probably helps me like a lot. But it's such a weird, like absurd and dark version of romantic comedy that somehow makes it seem more real and raw. And just such a great choice of putting Emily Watson as a romantic lead. I cannot speak, guys. Romantic lead that, probably no one would expect that she should have been cast in that role. It's great. So,
All right. Well, you are next, Zach. We have 2 more spots open, so your next nomination.
I mean, you can skip me if you want because I don't know what words are. So, just put like letters together in hopes it comes
I'll let you try it anyways.
Okay. So, my favorite movie of all time, the one that probably doesn't hit me the deepest in a label way, but as a romantic comedy does hit me in a deep way. It's also one of my favorite books of all time, and that's High Fidelity. I do think High Fidelity came in a time and place where it was like one of the first adult movies that I saw, probably as like a 12 or 13-year-old, and I was starting to appreciate movies in a different way that weren't just like fun animated movies, and so I probably have some nostalgia bias towards that way, but John Cusack is just a perfect romantic lead for me. I have a few John Cusack movies on this list, and this works. He works best in this movie than he does in anything else. He has the right level of melancholy to play that I always relate to, and just the self-reflection involved that I find very valuable in wanting to understand the character's story and follow it. So High Fidelity is my choice.
All right, so High Fidelity is on the table. I'm going to go to Paul first. Paul, High Fidelity.
Okay, here's an embarrassing moment for me. I'm a huge fan of Stephen Frears, but I have not seen this movie, actually. I love John Cusack and Stephen Frears, and I love music, so this is kind of a really embarrassing blind spot for me personally. So I guess I would probably have to say no, as much as the composition of all the different elements sounds like alley, but I just haven't gotten around to seeing this, which I know is kind of crazy.
Mark this. We finally hit something that Paul has not seen. God knows how many episodes it took to get to this point. We got something Paul hadn't seen. Luke, have you seen High Fidelity, and what do you think about it?
Yes, I have. I am not a big Stephen Frears fan overall. I didn't really have much of an interest in like Philomeno or Florence Foster Jenkins or Queen or like any of those movies very much, but High Fidelity I do really like, and I think Joan Cusack and Eben Kjæler, I'm gonna say is her name.
Yeah, even
The Danish girl who plays the Danish actress who plays Laura.
Yeah, no, I can't pronounce it either. So
They're a really nice pair in that movie. But the only reason I'm saying no to it at this point is because there are 2 spots left, and I think of that film as being more about sort of music and this shop environment and that kind of stuff, rather than focusing on necessarily the romantic element. I think Jack Black kind of steals that movie a bit, and he's fantastic in it.
It's all about tracking his relationships.
But it does kind of detract from John Cusack and even as things that I get, things that I get enjoyment out of watching in that film. So I'm going to say no by like a hair.
all right, and going to Cody next. Cody, High Fidelity.
Yeah, I've seen it once. Didn't really revisit it. Didn't really stick with me. So just for that sake alone, I'm just going to just make it quick. No.
Kill my heart.
All right,
Is it weird that I know trivia about this movie but have never seen it? Like I know the name of the record store.
Not weird.
Like I know
Well,
like Championship Vinyl is like the name of the store, but like yeah, never mind.
All right. Well, either way, that is a no for High Fidelity, and going just to meet my vote. Yeah, it's interesting because I actually am a fan of Stephen Frears. I think he's a really talented director, and I do like John Cusack. But I think there are other. I think there's one particular movie. There's one John Cusack movie that I think is better suited on this list. So I would have edged towards no.
Yeah, you're all.
So now,
however, I do want to go for a
thought it was great.
There's been some dents in my relationship with this movie, and John Cusack in general, because there's a screening happening in Madison at the Orpheum, a big stage house that he's doing a Q&A for. Q&As are wonderful. Often they're free for older movies, charging $65 fucking dollars. John Cusack must have gambled all his money away, coming to go speak for a half hour after a movie made 20 years ago, and charging $65. Who doesn't have a fan base for that? I'm just a biggest fan, and I'm not paying $65 fucking dollars. I'll watch a whole movie commentary.
Oh,
Okay.
Who had money on Zack being the most angry person in this episode?
I don't think any of them.
Have you not seen my Cars 3 rant?
Yeah, I have not seen an outburst like that from Zack since Cars 3. All right, either way. All right, we go back to me. And, oh boy, this is getting actually pretty hard. But, when we're talking about rom-coms, rom-coms had like a big resurgence in, the 90s and the early 2000s. And I believe this one was 90s. One of you might correct me on this one. No, okay, no, this is 89, so this is like the genesis of the resurgence. Okay, classic. So this one looks at classic. I think this one looks at a very different aspect of the relationship between a man and a woman, and that's When Harry Met Sally. When Harry Met Sally, I think, is a really good look at like the platonic relationship between men and women and how like sometimes that realistically doesn't work. I think Billy Crystal is really good in this movie. Like he gets a good turn more. He gets to turn a little bit more dramatic side, although he's still very funny. Meg Ryan at the height of her powers, to quote a certain Screen Junkie post. And I think this movie is just like super. I think the movie's super tender. I think it's super funny. I think the 2 leads have such great chemistry that I think it should be on top 7. So yeah, that's that. Going to Paul first. Paul, When Harry Met Sally.
Yeah, I think this is definitely one of the biggest romantic comedies. I think like in pop culture, just generally, like when you say romantic comedy, this is like one of the movies that like jumps to people's minds and is at the forefront. But I don't know. This is another case of this, I guess, me not necessarily connecting to the comedy of the movie. And I think that it's never been a movie that's really made me laugh that hard. Like it's sweet and like it has a lot of very interesting ideas about friendship and about how sex can sort of, rearrange that. But the comedy has never really worked a ton for me. I do love Carrie Fisher in this movie. She's phenomenal. But yeah, as much as I know this is like a legendary rom-com, it's just not. And with 2 spots left, I just can't. I can't let no. So I have to say no to When Harry Met Sally.
All right, so that's 1 no for When Harry Met Sally. I'm going to Zack next. Zack.
Yeah, I enjoy When Harry Met Sally a lot. It's really great performances from Meg Ryan and Billy Crystal, who I'm never not normally drawn to, and who knew that they were going to have such great chemistry. I feel like no one should have good chemistry with Billy Crystal, the least romantic chemistry. I feel like his wife probably.
What do you have against Billy Crystal? Good God.
He's just an odd bird.
Coming from you.
Tell me you're going like, I'm making my big romantic movie. I'm going to star Billy Crystal. Anybody's love is going to swoon for Billy Crystal.
We gotta get into Billy Crystal. Hey, I want to know more about this.
But the thing is, I think his performance is really great. I don't like his character. As soon as there's some of the like misogynistic and dickish comments that I said at the beginning, then I feel like he's immediately dismissed. But why does she want to be friends with him? He's kind of like a horrible human with his opinions, and his apologies aren't sincere enough for that forgiveness to happen. So I never fully cared about the relationship other than liking the performances. But I do enjoy it. But I'm a no. I just talk like I don't enjoy things.
Go on to Luca next, Luca.
I think it's When Harry Met Sally is a good movie. I think that again, I think that Crystal and Ryan are very, very good in it. My issue with it has always been Nora Ephron's script. I don't like the script, which I know is like a big thing. But like the thing that people. I remember the first time I saw this movie, and I remember hearing so much about the diner orgasm scene and how well constructed that scene is. And it is well constructed, but it doesn't sound like two people having a conversation ever in anywhere. And like for a film to for you to get invested in a movie, especially a romance movie, you need to at least understand the characters within the world that they're living in. And the world of When Harry Met Sally is the real world, and I never feel like these are two real people having a conversation in the real world. I don't think Ephron's script is as great as everyone thinks it is. I think that, Rob Reiner directs it very well, and the leads are very charming, but I found the film to be a bit of a bore. So I'm going to give it a pretty passionate no.
Oh, well. I've never seen Luca that passively angry. But either way, When Harry Met Sally does not make top 7. Should have gone with my other one. Cody, what would you say about When Harry Met Sally?
Well, when it was mentioned, because that's one of the movies I thought of when it happened, I wrote it down in the 6th spot. I was like, he'll probably make it. And boy, was I wrong. So I would have said yes, but I know how this episode's going to go for the rest of the time. So my next throw is just going to be a throw, and then I'll let Luca, Paul, and Zack decide the last 2. Because that's how I kind of feel like the show's going, which is okay, because nothing against them. They just have they have movies that they have movies that they definitely
didn't take
want.
my pick.
To be fair, Paul has said no to all of mine, and I think
true. But I had 2 going in that I definitely wanted, and it was Princess Bride and The Apartment. They're on there, so I'm not here to trash anybody's vote. So let's go on.
Okay, well.
Also, I definitely
Cody,
thought you were saying a different 89 rom-com, especially because of what we were talking about before this. But anyway, go ahead. Continue.
Oh, yeah, okay. I see. Maybe I should have gone there and said. But either way, Cody, your vote.
Or his throw, as he says.
My movie is because I actually love this movie. A lot of people might not, but it stars Tom Cruise, America's Treasure. I'm going to say Jerry Maguire. Yes, I do not expect it to make the list. I just want to talk about it. I actually want to hear Chance's opinion on it, honestly. But I find it very funny. I find it very dramatic also, but I find the romance in there actually, Tom Cruise actually at the end turns into like a redeemable person. Don't expect it to make the list, but I'll have fun hearing Luca and Paul tear it down. So,
Not exactly. All right, so Jerry Maguire is up for top 7. I'm going to go first this time because I've never made my feelings about Tom Cruise on the show unknown. Like Cody, I believe he's an American treasure to the universe and humanity. And you know what? This is some of the best acting I think he's done. Like people really underrate him as an actor because he's Mr. Do Your Own Stunts. And I'm really just dragging this out because I want to, talk much positive about Tom Cruise until, I see the floor to Luca and Paul. But because I'm the only one that will, I'll edge towards yes. Now, going to Zack next. Zack,
Oh, so this is when we get into my ridiculous opinions. I'm like a major Cameron Crowe apologist. There is not a Cameron Crowe movie I don't like.
Really? Not one.
Really?
Okay, here's the thing. I know the one that we're probably talking about, but like Rachel McAdams always works for me, guys.
But does Renee Zellweger, Jared Maguire, go?
Okay, here's the thing. That might be the only Cameron Crowe movie I haven't seen. And I think it's partly like I haven't put it in because I am slightly averse to Tom Cruise, as anything outside of action just doesn't fully work for me. So it probably hasn't had to draw. But so I'm bound to pass. I'm a no.
All right. Well, that's one no. All right, fine. Paul, take your crack.
I do want to say it's funny. We really keep like getting really close to the movie I was alluding to earlier and not diving into it. Now we're have a certain director that might have similarities or be the same person. But no, I actually spent most of my life wanting to be a sports agent, so this was definitely a movie that I watched a lot. And I like this movie a lot. But I've said this once, I'll say it again. I don't think Tom Cruise has romantic chemistry with like almost any woman in a movie that I've seen him with. His performance, I think, is good in the movie, but I don't think him and Zellweger's romance works really at all for me. I love Cuba Gooding Jr. in the movie. I love Cruise and Zellweger independently, but together, I don't think that romance really works at all.
Show me the money.
I am not a Cameron Crowe apologist. I like a couple of his movies, but
I clearly know why.
we have some serious. I have some serious issues with others.
We bought a zoo. We bought a zoo pretty good.
I actually kind of like that movie, but no, yeah, this movie just as a rom-com, it doesn't really connect for me. As a sports movie, actually, I like it a lot more. And I like it as a movie overall, but yeah, rom-com, no.
All right. I mean, I wish we had shut it down at this point, but wait. Okay, no, it's still alive until Luca just shoots it in the face. Luca, go ahead.
Oh,
Start your engines. Start your engines.
remember, I just threw this out as just to say, don't come in.
Fuck.
full guns blazing.
It's a fucking movie. So, right. I was talking about the thing earlier about wanting to, relate to characters and characters being, people who had conversations that didn't seem like they would happen in any world ever. And this is that. Like, this to me is the peak of that.
Does this movie not complete you, Luca? Does this movie not complete you?
Shut the fuck up. All of them take place in fucking nonsense Cameron Crowe world where people are beautiful and have dreams that basically just come true always, and no one comes up against like significant adversity that isn't like resolved by some like speech or natural charm. And here's the thing, right? So I love Renee Zellweger. Like, this is there is an actual thing with me and Renee Zellweger where I cannot get enough of watching her. In this movie, fuck. I just can't. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because she's next to Tom Cruise or being written and directed by Cameron Crowe, but it's just like, she's like watching grass grow that has been painted. So you are simultaneously watching grass grow and paint dry. And this movie came out the same year that I was born, and I'm kind of insulted by that. So no.
Jesus.
I just want to say, watching grass go while paint dry sounds super meditative to me. I feel like I'll be so relaxed.
I was going to
absolutely.
apologize, but I'm so happy that is now a part of the Full Metal 5 range
Canon.
from Luca. That's fantastic.
It's like watching grass grow has been painted. So they're watching grass grow and paint dry at the same time. I'm keeping that around somehow. But Luca, you got that out of your system? You good?
Yeah, I'm fine.
All
So
right,
it's a yes, right?
It's a no. It's absolutely no.
Oh, darn.
Dang.
Also, say anything is a fucking piece of shit as well.
Ooh, we might go blows on that one later. But either way, Luca, your next vote.
Oh god, is it me?
Yes, it's you next.
turn back into enjoy movies mode.
Okay. Well, yeah. No, I need to
Turn it up. Like a light switch goes click.
Click. What do I actually want to go with now? What do I like movies?
I don't know if you like movies. You tell me.
So, yeah, I've got to get a Howard Hawks movie on here.
Ooh.
So, which one do I pick?
Come on, pick the right one.
I think at the end of the day, I'm going to have to go with Bringing Up Baby. I absolutely adore this movie. Cary Grant is delightful and wonderful in it. Katharine Hepburn is absolutely stunning and gorgeous, and I think you absolutely fall in love with her. This film did not do very well at the box office. It was not, well received commercially. But the relationship between Grant and Hepburn is so wonderful. It's so funny. I know that it's obviously Zack is upset that I didn't suggest His Girl Friday. I know. But I just think Bringing Up Baby is a more delightful and enjoyable movie. So I'm going to go with that one and see what happens. Let's go with that.
Well, close your eyes, pitch, and see what happens. That's the philosophy here on Full Metal 5. And Bringing Up Baby is up for top 7. I'm going to go to Cody first. Cody.
Nothing against Luca. I'm just going to say no because of his overly rant about a movie I like. So this is just, and he left the call. Yes,
And he left the call because of that.
Before we can pick up say anything, let's get it out of the way now.
I say no. Move on fast.
Okay, yeah, I say no because he's already back.
Dang it.
All right, that's one no for Bringing Up Baby.
We were trying to get singing or say anything out of the way.
Yeah, we passed say anything while you were gone.
Yeah, right, bad. Sorry, not top 7. But either way, so coming to me next, as far as Bring Up Baby, yeah, Howard Hawks is a great director. Good director, I think I picked the wrong one. So I'm going to say no to Bring Up Baby. And Zack, what say you, sir?
So it's near the bottom of my short list. I don't think Cary Grant fully works in it. He's just like too bumbling. It's just one of my least favorite Cary Grant performances. But Katharine Hepburn's a delight and carries the movie enough to carry it on her own. And I honestly would have said yes because I'm just getting pretty tired, guys, and I'm just sick of your faces. So just trying to move it along. Only one of your faces.
You don't have to say would have. You can just say yes. It's not shot down.
Yeah, it's on the table. So you're deciding vote. Bring Up Baby. Does it make top 7?
Yeah, I love Cary Grant in this movie. Howard Hawks' direction. Oh, this is not His Girl Friday. Yeah, it's gonna be a no.
Oh. All right. Well,
as much as I love Cary Grant as a paleontologist, this movie. If we're talking the last 2 spots. I like this movie a lot, but not enough for it to take one of those spots for me.
Well, it does not make top 7, and Paul, we go to you next.
Ooh, okay. There are a couple that I'm sort of floating around here. I could do the obvious choice in the situation, but I'm going to go to another, frequently Oscar-nominated director, and I'm going to go with William Wyler's Roman Holiday. This is easily my favorite Audrey Hepburn performance. I actually don't really connect with her a lot as an actor and like a lot of her other movies, but this is one that I think this really hits home for me. Gregory Peck is one of my favorite actors of all time. And I just think that like the way that their, serendipitous relationship sort of comes to be, you have this princess and then she falls in love with this American reporter. I just think this movie works on so many levels. It makes me laugh and I love the romance. And my nomination is Roman Holiday.
All right, so Roman Holiday is up for top 7. Luke, I'm going to you first.
Not too sure about this one. Can I hear other people's arguments?
Yeah, okay, you can abstain. The rest of us will go first.
No, I'm not abstaining. Can I just defer?
No, yeah, I meant defer. Why did I say abstain? Defer.
Yeah,
right.
Let me defer.
Yeah, no, you'll defer till the end. If we need you, we'll go to you. Cody, I'm going to you next.
I'm kind of with Paul. I love Gregory Peck as an actor. Roman Holiday, it didn't make like my full list, but I do enjoy the movie. We're getting close to the bottom, so I'm really curious about what other people will vote. But to make it interesting, sure, I'll put Roman Holiday on the list.
All right, and I'm going to me next. My favorite classical actor is Gregory Peck. my favorite classical actress is Audrey Hepburn. You put the two of them together, it equals a fuck yes from me. Robin Holiday, I love the movie, and yeah, I'll definitely put it on top 7, which closes it out. Robin Holiday makes top 7. Well, Luca, what would you have said?
I think I would have probably leaned towards no. I love William Wyler, but there's a romantic comedy of his that I prefer. It's also a musical, and it's got Barbara Streisand in it, and there's too much delight in that other movie.
The Yentl.
I think it was no.
Why do you hate the light? Oh no, there's the light in the other one.
I like Roman Holiday a lot, but I think it would have been a case of my opinion on that one being right director, wrong film. But it's still a great movie.
We've had like 4 of those already.
All right, and Zach, what would you have said?
This is actually top of my classics that were left over. So I love Audrey Hepburn. She's another one just always works for me and just a delight through the movie. Enough to carry away any flaws for me. So I'm a yes for Roman Holiday.
All right, well, we're going to you next, Zach.
So like, I do want to say the one we've all been hinting at, but I'm very much a fragile soul. And I don't know if I can handle Luca putting their hands and crushing my soul into multiple irreparable pieces. So I'm going to avoid saying it. Get it? Saying it. Okay.
You can say anything else.
Say anything.
You can say anything else.
Say anything else.
So I'm going to go with my indie choice. I think a pretty personal pick. This movie works so much better for me a second time. Some of the comedy, I think I have some aversion to like potty humor and fart jokes and stuff. So I had some aversion of that. But the dramatic elements and the romantic elements work so great, so perfectly. I talked to Paul about this. I know he has not seen it, so I'm hoping he caught up. And so this is going to be Obvious Child. Jenny Slate, I think, is a wonderful comedy performer who somehow makes these fart jokes work for me when it's not my thing. But the dramatic beat she's able to hit in such a, really deep story and relevant story and a different way to view a romantic comedy, watching him go through, a life-changing event with her and standing up for her. And they really put the focus on her story all around is just, it's great. So Obvious Child is my pick.
All right, so Obvious Child is up for top 7. Going to go to Paul first. Paul, have you seen it?
I have caught up, and I have seen this movie. But I was really hoping this was a different A24 movie led by a mid-30s white woman that's sort of a breakout actress right now. I like this movie a lot, but for me, especially with one spot on the list, as much as I do enjoy the humor and the romance was, I think, a lot better than I was expecting. Obvious Child, it just doesn't quite make the cut for me. So, sorry, Zach.
All right, so that's 1 no for Obvious Child. Going to Luca. Luca, Obvious Child doesn't make top 7.
Gillian Robespierre is kind of a really interesting up-and-coming writer-director. I think the film is kind of dramatically very, very good. I like Jenny Slate in it. But the thing that Zach was able to kind of get over, I sort of wasn't. I didn't really like the toilet humor, the fart jokes, all that kind of stuff. Wasn't quite my thing. And like Paul, I would kind of like that other movie there. So I'm going to give that one a no.
All right, so only 1 more no to seal that away. Cody, what say you?
I would have said no as well. I honestly haven't seen it yet. I know that's always a problem on these shows when there's so many movies out there. Sometimes you just haven't made them.
Especially with this panel in particular, that can be an issue.
Yeah, right.
There are some that are more mainstream that I've seen, and I will definitely add it to my list to watch. But yeah, I have to be a no.
All right, so that is it. Obvious Child does not make the list. I really love Obvious Child. One of my maybe top 5 A24 movies. Top 10 for sure. Maybe top 5.
It's number 1.
I know it's near number 1, but I definitely would give it a no. So I want to hit that. Looking at what we got so far, we got 1 spot left on the list. We've got a good base of genre coverage on this list.
There's a couple I'm really surprised have not been brought up yet.
But there is one genre I think we have not covered, and that is the teen romance genre.
Don't do it.
And I'm, of course, going to bring up, I'm
And Frank
going
Museum?
back to the early 90s, late 80s era, starring a few teens, of course, going with
Come on.
No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to say anything. I'm actually going with one that I surprisingly really love, and if my sister ever sees this, she will not forgive me if I didn't bring this up, and that is Clueless. Clueless, I think, did a really great job of putting you into the shoes. Like, it made a white rich teen in Beverly Hills relatable to many different kinds of people. Even me as a 20-year-old man, I love this movie. I think it's massively enjoyable. I think you have a great performance from playing her name, Lisa Silverstone. Yeah. Lisa Silverstone's great. Brittany Murphy's great. Once again, Wallace Shawn, which we get him on this list, we have him in 2 spots. And also, you have a great little romance with Paul Rudd, who's one of his early roles, and he's really great in the film. So, yeah, I'm putting up Clueless. Going to Paul first.
So yeah, shout out Stacey Dash. This movie is very enjoyable.
Don't shout
I don't want
out
to shout
Dash.
I don't want to shout out Stacey Dash.
but it's not even really my favorite heckling. It's not the movie that I was hoping and thought you were going to bring up as far as mid to late 90s romantic comedies that take place in a high school. Yeah, it's enjoyable, but especially with one spot on the list. Clueless, I guess I don't know. I guess I'm clueless about this movie, but I'm not saying
You are clueless about this film, sir. So that's 1 vote against Clueless. Zach.
I have not seen this in over 10 years. But my brother loved Clueless. I watched a lot with him, and I definitely found a charm, and I definitely, even at a young age, could recognize that this is a quality movie. My list is starting to dim and get a little smaller, and I'm losing hope that any of my dreams are going to come true in my name. So I'm happy with this making the top 7, maybe not top 5. So I'm going to pass this along to say yes.
Okay, so that's 1 yes from Zach. Luca, Clueless.
Unlike Zack, I have not resorted to just saying yes to movies on the listeners.
So it's a no.
I really do like Clueless. I think Alicia Silverstone, Stacey Dash, and Brittany Murphy are very, very good. But I mean, you kind of said it yourself. You've got a little romance in there with Paul Rudd. It's not the
More coming of age
matchmaker.
than rom-com.
It's a coming of age movie. It's a high school movie. To me, the focus
is on with the other 90s movie. Oh well,
friendship is the friendship group. I prefer sort of all the stuff that goes on with them, with Cher and Dion and Ty. As a rom-com, I'm going to say no.
All right, and Cody, you're the deciding vote.
Because I kind of play Full Metal 5 a little different than most, because then I think you got to knock 2 off. So if I let one easy one in, then some good ones can stay.
Don't do this. Don't do this.
I actually like Clueless. I'm one of those people that my sister showed it to me, and I had to watch this movie over and over. But I kind of just want to bring a movie to let Luca rant about it. So I'm just going to keep this going and say no.
I can't handle
it. All right, well, I hope you bring up the movie that Luca's going to rant over next, because Luca did not make the list.
It's going to make the list.
Cody, go ahead, buddy.
Oh, get your boombox ready, guys. Lift it up. Say anything. Go ahead.
Oh, that's it? Okay, well, that's it.
I
Let's
love
say
anything.
anything.
I don't understand.
And let Luca go.
Wait, no. Everyone else go first. Let Luca slam dunk this thing at the end.
Okay, so I'm gonna go first, and yeah, I give Say Anything a big yes. That's all I gotta say, because I don't want to delay. I don't want to delay this any further. So I'm gonna get a yes. Paul, what do you give Clueless? I'm not Clueless. Say Anything.
I actually do like this movie, but there are a couple other movies that I want to bring up. So I'm gonna give this a no. Please, Zach, don't do what I think you're gonna do. Anyway, no.
This wasn't your other 89 movie.
No, that's what I thought you were gonna bring up, but it's not.
Oh wow! So you have another movie from '89 that you think should be on.
No,
okay, well, interesting.
Never mind. Just
all right, Zach.
I mean, I don't think anyone's gonna vote for Band-Aid, so I gotta end this at some point.
Oh no!
I love Band-Aid, man.
Oh man.
Yeah. I'm scared. Oh, my heart hurts already. Luca, go. I said yes.
Okay, so that's it. That closes it. Say Anything makes top 7. All right.
Lift your boom boxes. He's gone.
Luca has walked out of the show. All right. So
I hope going to go get props.
I
yeah,
actually like
I
the
hope
movie.
he's going
I'm
to
not
get
trying
props
to
for
be.
this.
I'm not. I do. I don't know.
All right. So
I mean, it's a good movie. I mean, I'm not arguing that.
I thought that's what you were gonna say a long time ago. You said a Cameron Crowe movie. What Cameron Crowe?
That's what I said. I wasn't gonna say myself. I said it's funny that we're dancing around it.
yeah. Okay.
Uh,
So
it was top of my list.
while we wait for Luca. Oh, okay. So Luca,
Props.
he's
I will
got his
give you.
head-
A,
yeah, he's-
I will give you a solid. I'll give you a solid minute to get your rants out.
I realized I had to
Five
get the book. No, Peter Gabriel's "In Your Eyes" is an absolutely wonderful song. It's one of Peter Gabriel's best songs. It's a beautiful piece of music by a great artist. But after watching this movie, I don't know if I can listen to Peter Gabriel anymore, because that is one of the least romantic scenes in all of cinema. It's weird. It's just
That's why it's good.
It's strangely obsessive and creepy. I don't know if that's what Cameron Crowe is going for. Even this soundtrack is like jackass 80s white boy dickhead who thinks he's an awkward romantic soundtrack.
You just
John
described
Cusack-
me again.
John Cusack is an absolutely fantastic actor, and Ion Sky, Oyama,
Yeah, Ion Sky.
Ion Sky is should be delightful, but again, they're in Cameron Crowe world. I just Laszlo Kovacs is a brilliant cinematographer, but when he's filming Cameron Crowe world, I can't deal with it. I don't.
Oh God! Full Metal 5 first. We have broken Luca
Yeah,
to the point where he
this
can't
is
tell us our
underwhelming. I
opinions
was
of stupid
expecting
anymore.
more.
I'm sorry, Luca. I'm sorry.
I was kind
Alright,
of
well,
hoping Luke was just
look,
going to
at the
go
end
in a
of the day,
minute rant about Peter Gabriel and then stop.
Look, the reason that I focus on the Peter Gabriel thing is because like I do not want to lend any time to this movie. I don't get it. I really don't get it.
So he's
I know,
not
I feel his
quoted,
mother.
though, for the scene.
Huh?
It is creepy, and she doesn't fall for him right away. The big romantic moment didn't work. And
Yeah,
I think that's what's pleasant about the movie.
I get that, but like it's still like oh God, I don't know. Like
Boy. Okay, well, Luca, I'm gonna give you a chance to fix yourself. We're now in the. First of all, I want to say that as far as total knows, Luca and Paul have tied with 10 apiece. And so, Luca, I'll give you a chance to refix yourself.
I knew I wouldn't win.
Go over your honorable mentions if you have any.
my honorable mentions. Okay, I have Bringing Up Baby was brought up and didn't get on. So I have a few. None of them are, I think, particularly conventional. I want to go for two LGBT rom-coms that I really liked that I wanted to bring up because I'm LGBT, and while I didn't think that either of these movies were going to make the list, I didn't want to let this thing go with just talking about straight people. So I'm going to go with a German film from last year called Siebzehn, which is a high school romantic comedy by a director called Monja Art, which I really liked. I saw at a queer film festival and fell in love with. I also want to go with something that's a little bit more out there and fun, which is, I think it's from 1999 by Jamie Babbitt. It's a film called But I'm a Cheerleader.
Oh, but I'm a cheerleader.
A lesbian girl who's sent to a conversion camp, and it's very, very funny, and I enjoyed it a lot. The other ones, I have four. I have kind of a slightly out there one. I have a Frank Capra movie that I love. It's a Wonderful Life, which I think you could very, very strongly argue counts. I think the relationship between the leads is kind of a focus of that. I have Fantastic Mr. Fox, the only Wes Anderson movie I will ever love. I love the relationship between the two leads. It has jokes in it. The romance features quite strongly, and then the two very traditional ones I have are Love Actually and Legally Blonde, both of which I really, really enjoy.
You have Love Actually, but hate Say Anything. You're just full of contradictions here.
No,
I'm not going for it.
I think Robert I think Richard Curtis is directing in that film.
It's got he's British.
I think that all of the vignettes are very charming. It's got a whole bunch of actors that I love. It's one that I watch every Christmas. I like it a lot.
All right. Well, Zach, any honorable mentions you have?
I have about 30. So
Of course.
give me at least a half hour here.
Actually, I'll go to you last then, Paul. Any other mentions you have?
So this might be also on Zach's list. The next movie I was going to nominate is Frances Ha, one of my favorite movies of all time. I think the romance is a little weak of an element in the movie, but I think the movie is just absolutely phenomenal, really funny. I talked about Zoe Kazan earlier. What If with Daniel Radcliffe is also one of my favorite rom-coms. I absolutely love that movie to pieces. Adam Driver is so great as his friend. Forgetting Sarah Marshall is kind of a more conventional one that I love a lot. Paul Rudd's character is absolutely hilarious. The romance in it was great. His Girl Friday, nobody nominated.
Yes, Spring Up Baby is a better movie.
I disagree with that very wholeheartedly. I love Your Sister, Sister, which is Mark Duplass. It's a sort of in the same vein as Drinking Buddies, one of those sort of mumblecore.
Oh yeah, Your Sister, Sister.
The movie I thought Chance was going to bring up, 10 Things I Hate About You. Another one of my favorites.
I debated bringing that up.
That movie
I
is
love that movie. If that movie had gone on and say anything happened, then yeah.
I was literally debating between that and Clues. I thought Clues had a better shot at getting on the list. I was wrong.
No.
A movie that I don't think has as much comedy, but I'm surprised nobody said is 500 Days of Summer. I know a lot of people love that movie.
Hate it.
Not terribly surprised by that.
Passionately despise it.
But I think besides that, that's pretty much it. As long as no one said any Woody Allen movies, I would have been content. So here we are, guys.
We
almost went this entire show without saying his name. Thanks, Paul. You ruined that. Cody, any other mentions you have?
Was it me?
Yes, you.
Paul kind of covered some of my head forgetting. It was getting pretty slim on my list because, again, I got 2 hours and I was just writing down at work while I was finishing up my shift. But I would have said Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Groundhog's Day, and that's about it for me. Most of the ones that I thought about.
Just a quick one, for my friend Michael Campbell. I know he would have wanted me to say this. Chasing Amy is another one I like a lot. Kevin.
Oh, Chasing Amy is a good one. Okay, yeah. I had Chasing Amy on mine. I had 10 Days I Hate About You, which I didn't take in honor of Clueless, but clearly that was a mistake. 40-year-old Virgin, Knocked Up, or two. You can define those as rom-coms. I think those would stand a good chance. Ron Howard's Splash, I really like a lot. I believe that might be it. Yeah, no, that's it. So, 40-year-old Virgin, Knocked Up, Splash, and Is a Hit About You. Breakfast with Tiffany's one I really like.
It's not talk about that movie, please.
It Happened One Night movie I really love a lot.
I love It Happened One Night.
That's great.
Yeah, great movie. And that is it. And I will cede the floor to Zach to go through his honorable mentions.
Don't worry, I narrowed it down to 17 since I was given.
Oh, awesome.
Okay, so we got Lady Bird. They came together. If you want to go like parody of a romantic comedy, which we didn't do.
The Paul Rudd.
David Wayne's. Yeah. Matter of Life and Death, which the romantic elements aren't.
I love Matter of Life and Death.
It is a great movie. Love and Friendship, Wonderful with Stillman, period piece there. That's great. I'm going to mumble the next two because I'm really scared of the responses. So, Garden State and Fever Pitch. Okay, and then we have...
You think Garden State and Fever Pitch?
I would have voted for Fever Pitch.
I think Garden State is fine.
Okay.
I like Garden State.
Garden State, like right after it came out, that it's made me slightly embarrassed, but I like truly, I talked about
you say Fever Pitch with Jimmy Fallon?
Oh yeah, it works for me.
Oh,
great.
It's about the Red Sox. I would so vote for it, hands down.
But Garden State, like I talked about my love for Natalie Portman. She is one of my favorite actresses, and that's why I'm averse to the phrase Pixie Dream Girl, because it's been used to attack this movie and attack that character that I love so dearly. Okay, continuing. My Lady Eve. I love Barbara Stanwyck, and that's my favorite Barbara Stanwyck performance. I Love You Man, if you wanted to stretch it to like friendship romantic parts.
Okay, sure.
Band-Aid is kind of just where I am in my life now. Hits me a lot as someone who's young and married. Moonrise Kingdom would have been my romantic comedy for Wes Anderson. Fantastic Mr. Fox is my favorite, but the romantic elements aren't fully there for me. Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Knocked Up. You Can't Take It With You. If you want to get really weird, I had Lobster on here. I feel like could have worked.
Yeah.
Yorgos Lanthimos?
Yes. It is a romantic comedy.
I guess. I mean, in that case, Fantastic Mr. Fox definitely counts.
the movie Beginners has gotten a lot known for the father relationship in that, but the both romantic elements between Christopher Plummer and his boyfriend and then Melanie Laurent, I think is actually fantastic in that movie. So Beginners, and then my favorite Richard Curtis movie would have been About Time. I've already talked about Rachel McAdams. Always works.
All right. Awesome. All right. So our top 7 as it stands, we have The Apartment, Singing in the Rain, Wall-E, Princess Bride, Punch Drunk Love, Roman Holiday, and Say Anything.
That list is actually mostly not bad.
What was that?
That list is actually mostly really good.
Mostly really. I know. Oh, I wonder which one you're talking about.
83% really good.
But either way, we have to cut 2 of these. This should not be an easy process, except for one of us. So I'm going to cut to that one of us. Luca, out of these movies, what would you like to cut off?
Let's cut this gangrenous limb off and remove Cameron Crowe and say goodbye to Say Anything.
Well, we in a world where we get to say anything, I
would like to say
Luca's opting to say goodbye. All right, so Cody, put it on. So I'm going to you first. Say anything. Does it stay on or does it get off?
Of the 5 that I want on this list, Say Anything I only put on because I enjoy the movie. I think it's a good movie, but I just wanted to hear Luca rant. So that's my favorite part of Full Metal 5 when he's on. So I'm going to say I agree with Luca, and it needs to go.
Okay, so that's 2 votes to kick off Say Anything. And I'm going to go to Paul next. Paul, do you want to ratify it?
I know that me and Luca are tied right now for the amount of times we've said no to things. And in spirit of that, I'm going to say, yeah, this gets kicked off the list.
Oh, it's like...
All right, so that is it. So Say Anything has off the top 7. I'm fine with this getting off. Zach, what would you say about Say Anything?
I was gonna say yes, but all these movies right now are 10 out of 10s for me. This is just a fantastic list that worked to my benefit. By the way, while I had the floor, Elizabethtown, solid movie, guys. Solid movie. Move on.
Okay, well then.
By the way, just as a quick note on Say Anything, I have this anxiety, pushy stuff that I use when I'm getting anxious. Talking about Say Anything, I broke it.
Oh wow. Okay.
I'm sorry I had to do that to you, Luca.
Sorry about that.
Like me.
I think I can just reheat it and put it back.
So let's see. When right here, let's see. Looking at this, when giving the floor to the next person, I would like to think who is going to hurt the most from having to cut something from this list. And I think that's Zach. So Zach, you get the next cut.
It's definitely me.
Thank God.
I think there's a obvious choice for everyone. I think that we're gonna go for, and as much as I love it, it's also something I've seen more recent than the other one, so it just hasn't lived in my soul as long as these other movies, and that's Roman Holiday. So I'll nominate Roman Holiday to get knocked off.
Hasn't lived in my soul long enough.
I was trying to have gravitas, but I can't really sell gravitas. It's not my thing.
All right, so Roman Holiday is up next. And I believe Paul put this on the list. Paul, Roman Holiday, is it stay or does it go?
It stays.
All right, so that's 1 vote for it stays. Gonna go to Cody. Have you seen this one? I can't remember.
Yes.
Okay, so does it stay or does it go?
So trying not to show my cards, but both of Paul's nominations are my 2 cuts. So I'm just going to make it easy.
I wonder why.
Nothing against you, Paul. I actually like you as a person. I think you're a great to this community, but you suck sometimes. So I'm going to say Roman Holiday gets kicked off the list.
Nominated Say Anything. Sorry.
Because I wanted to hear Luca yell. Shut up.
Yeah, so that's 1 vote for it to get kicked off. Going to Luca next. Luca.
I think at this point it is Roman Holiday is a fantastic movie. It's one of William Wyler's best. Key thing, one of. But if you deny me Streisand, you can have not Hepburn. So goodbye, Roman.
Oh, wow,
Pepper.
Roman. So wow,
Margaret
unprecedented. Roman Holiday is off the list. Apparently, Luke is a big Streisand fan. I didn't even know. So, our top 5 at the stands. I would have actually opted to keep it.
Barbra Streisand t-shirts.
I would have opted to keep it. So, top 7 at the stands is The Apartment, Singing in the Rain, Wall-E, Princess Bride, and Punch Drunk Love. I don't think anybody would have predicted this list. But now we come to the rankings portion of the show. You all know how it works for people at home. What we're going to do is a spot on the list is going to be up for voting, and we're going to write down on our whiteboards or paper or whatever the hell we have what we believe deserves to go in that spot. So, gentlemen, if you all write down what you think deserves to go in the number 5 spot.
Man, this hurts writing this down. Might care about this too much.
These are all fantastic movies. Well done for kicking the two correct movies off the list.
I'm perfectly fine with wherever anything lands at this point.
Yeah.
All right, so give me a second.
Oh, I didn't draw a picture.
Oh, right. You gotta draw. That's why we have you on the
I'll get
show.
one
You
later.
need to draw your pictures.
I'll save it.
All right. So I'm gonna go first. I have Punch Drunk Love at number 5. Zack.
I have Princess Bride.
Ooh.
Oh.
Fuck.
Paul, what do you have?
I'm Singing in the Rain.
Oh.
This kid goes south very fast. Luca.
By far my favorite movie on the list, but it's Wall-E.
And
Oh,
Paul, Cody, please say you said something.
I know what he put.
Chance, we're in sync. Punch Drunk Love.
Thank Christ. Okay. All right.
Deal
So
with
Punch
Paul.
Drunk Love is the number 5. Now, if you all right, what goes in the number 4 spot on the list? I'm gonna go to Zack last. If he wants to draw like a picture.
I'm good.
Okay, you're good. But either way, I'm going to Cody first. Cody.
I said Wall-E.
All right. Wally at number 4. And number 4.
Yeah.
Luca.
I decided to just change up my ranking system and just rank them by how good the movies are, so I now have Princess Bride.
Ooh.
I think me and Chance brought the rules before that if you change your vote, you're never allowed back one.
I didn't change my vote.
Chances on that before, so let's not even talk. It's still Singing in the Rain.
All right.
Nice water drops.
Zack.
Even though it's one of the best movies with a pirate ship ever, Princess Bride.
Oh, that hurt.
So we have two for Princess Bride, and Cody, you said Wall-E? Am I correct?
Yes.
All right. And I have Singing in the Rain. So I believe the outlier in this case was
Is Cody.
Cody. So Cody, number 4. Is it
Oh.
Wall-E?
what
Is it Singing in the Rain or is it Princess Bride?
Oh. Damn. Between those two, to me, I'm gonna agree with Paul. Singing in the Rain.
Singing in the Rain makes it at number 4. So if you all write down what goes in the number 3 spot on the list.
Sure, fine. Only the greatest movie of all time.
I agree.
Greatest movie, but I don't
should've
really
changed
qualify
your
as a
vote.
rom-com. That's the only reason it's number 4.
You should have went with Wall-E. I'm just saying.
No.
Then Zack would have been the outlier.
I understand.
And we would have broken him.
I would be in tears
That's true.
and for the next day, and then my kids have to see me cry, and they'll never have respect for me again. They don't have respect for me anyways.
Yeah, like that's way too easy of a joke for me to pass up. I'm not gonna do it. All right.
25 days, guys. 25 days.
I'm gonna hate. Like I'm gonna get made for this one. I'm gonna go first. Not that I don't like the movie. It's just my least favorite of these 3, which I all really do love. The Apartment.
That's a big-
Zack.
F you.
Princess Bride, represented
All right.
by Andre the Giant.
Paul.
That would be waste allocation load lifter earth class. Wally.
I bet you know the abbreviation. All right, so that's one for Princess Bride, one for. Okay, so everyone's got one vote so far. Luca,
Have fun storming the castle.
Princess Bride, and Cody. What did you say?
Wally.
Oh, so it comes back to me, and I gotta change my vote. Whew, this is hard. This is really hard. I do love both movies, but as far as we're talking romantic comedies, Wally's number 3. So, now, if you all write down what you think should go in the number 1 spot on the list.
What was number 3? What'd you pick?
Wally.
Okay. What goes number 1? Okay, cool. That's mine. I think this one's pretty clear, isn't it?
It should be, but
Because everybody's trying to get the other one knocked off, put to the bottom.
yeah,
It
exactly.
made it
right?
really easy. I'd have to change my vote for.
All right. So, if everyone's ready, I'm going to go first because I'm pretty sure the only one's going to be leaning this way. I have the Princess Bride. Zach, going to you next.
I have The Apartment.
Awesome. Paul, what do you have?
I attempted to recreate part of the poster, The Apartment.
Oh, jeez. Luca, do we even need to ask?
It's The Apartment.
All right, and Cody, just for argument's sake, what did you have?
I nominated it. It was my first choice. It's The Apartment.
All right, well, that settles it.
Everyone else's hearts. We all know Wally is truly the answer, but we'll accept
That's it. All right, so our
Wally is
top 5
definitely
as
my
it
favorite
stands
animal.
is number 5, Punch Drunk Love. Number 4, Singing in the Rain. Number 3, Wally. Number 2, The Princess Bride. And the number 1 rom-com of all the time, according to us, The Apartment. I think this is a really, really solid list, guys. Thank you. Good job. Not as heated as I thought I was going to get, especially with this panel, and I appreciate that. So for everybody on the panel, Cody, Luca, Paul, and the host of our newest show, the right winner here on Full Metal Media, Zack Ford. I am Chance Ellison. I want to say thank you for joining us, and be on the lookout for next week's topic, which I know I say don't plan ahead, but I already have the next one planned because I think it's going to be a very fun one. Stay tuned for that announcement. Till then, I will see you next time.
Please.